Imagine sitting in the crowd at D23, waiting for Marvel to unveil something big. Suddenly, the Avengers theme kicks in only to be cut short by static, strange tech noises, and the voice of Thor declaring, "We can put together the greatest team ever." What followed wasn't a full trailer, but a mysterious sizzle reel that has fans across the world buzzing. Hidden audio clips, smuggled details, and familiar voices from across the multiverse all came together to paint a picture of where the MCU is heading. And at the center of it all, one name kept echoing louder than the rest: Dr. Doom. Marvel has a history of saving its most shocking reveals for moments like San Diego Comic-Con or D23. Fans who attend these events always expect something exclusive, something the rest of the world won't see for months, maybe even years. That's exactly what happened this time. What Marvel showed wasn't a polished trailer meant for the public. Instead, it was what insiders are calling a sizzle reel, a carefully crafted montage designed to spark hype without actually giving away the movie. And yet, the secrecy only made it more explosive. Cameras may have been forced down, but not every detail stayed hidden. According to multiple reports, pieces of audio slipped out, smuggled recordings found their way online, and fans immediately began dissecting every word. The reel played like a puzzle, flashes of characters we already know, lines of dialogue pulled from past films, and new sounds that no one could quite place. What stood out most was how intentional it all felt. This wasn't random filler. The reel was designed to drop breadcrumbs, hints about fractured Avengers teams, mysterious alliances, and the shadow of a villain who could rival Thanos in scale. For longtime Marvel fans, it was like being handed the corner pieces of a massive jigsaw puzzle. You can't see the full picture yet, but you know something monumental is coming. The reel opened with a familiar sound, the Avengers theme. But before the music could swell into triumph, it was cut short, abruptly silenced by static and the pulse of strange, mechanical noise. That alone set the tone. Something was off. Something dangerous was coming. Then came the voices. The first was Thor, confident and commanding, "We can put together the greatest team ever." A rallying cry, the kind of line you'd expect to hear in the build-up to an Avengers film. But immediately after, Sam Wilson's voice broke through, "If we can't see the good in each other, we've already lost the fight." That contrast wasn't random. It was deliberate. The reel was teasing not unity, but division, a fractured group of heroes struggling to trust one another. What tied these moments together was the strange, swishing noise layered between them. It didn't sound like magic or alien tech. Fans who've listened closely say it resembled something else entirely, the hum of Dr. Doom's technology. If true, it suggests Doom isn't just waiting in the shadows, he's already interfering, disrupting, and breaking apart the Avengers before the battle even begins. Taken together, the opening clips weren't about showing action or spectacle. They were about planting seeds of doubt. If Thor sees hope and Sam sees only conflict, then who will lead? And more importantly, how do Earth's mightiest heroes stand a chance when their greatest enemy might not need to lift a finger to tear them apart? After those first uneasy exchanges, the reel shifted into something even more intriguing. The next voice was Paul Rudd's Ant-Man, full of optimism. "Will I be there when the Avengers need me?" Absolutely. But before viewers could enjoy the reassurance, the line was followed by sharp sounds, what many described as gunfire ringing out in the background. The message was clear: even loyalty doesn't guarantee safety in what's coming. Then came Yelena Belova, delivering a line Marvel fans may recognize: "We stick together from now on." In its original context, she was speaking about the Thunderbolts. Here, though, it felt bigger. A promise of unity in the middle of chaos. A reminder that fractured teams and clashing ideologies will need to find common ground or risk being destroyed. Sam Wilson's voice returned with a line that hit harder than most: "That pressure, that responsibility, I want that too." Whether it was a recycled clip or something newly recorded didn't matter. What mattered was what it symbolized: Sam embracing his role not just as Captain America, but as the leader of the Avengers. Marvel has teased this before, but placing this line in the middle of a reel full of tension made it resonate on a new level. This technique wasn't new. Marvel has done it in the past. Nick Fury's "There Was an Idea" and Tony Stark's promise to bring together a team became the backbone of the Avengers' first saga. By reusing old dialogue and weaving it into a new narrative, Marvel signaled that history is repeating itself, only this time, the stakes are even higher. The implication was clear: the Avengers we once knew are gone. What comes next is uncertain. And just as in the earliest days, the question hangs in the air: who will rise, and who will fall? As the reel unfolded, the scope of the story grew far beyond the Avengers we already know. Suddenly, voices started emerging from every corner of the Marvel multiverse, each one adding weight to the growing storm. Red Guardian's voice cut through with determination: "This has the makings of a team that can bring light from the darkness." It was a line fans recognized from Thunderbolts, but placed here, it felt like more than a pep talk. It sounded like a warning that the Avengers can't win this fight alone, and darker allies may need to step forward. Then came Loki. But not the mischievous trickster we first met. This was the god of stories, calm yet burdened. Raising things to the ground is easy. Trying to fix what's broken is hard. His words hinted at more than personal reflection. They suggested that repairing the fractured state of the Marvel Universe, heroes divided, timeline splintering, might be the hardest challenge of all. And then the reel made its biggest play yet. A familiar voice, unmistakable, Professor X, Patrick Stewart himself, declaring, "There are those who believe, human and mutant alike, that a war is coming." As if that wasn't enough, Cyclops followed, promising, "If anything happens, I'll take care of them." These lines didn't just nod to the X-Men, they outright foreshadowed their collision course with Doom and the Avengers. Finally, a voice Marvel fans had been dying to hear, Pedro Pascal, as Reed Richards, assuring, "We are your defenders. We will protect you." The Fantastic Four, the X-Men, the Avengers, and the Thunderbolts all teased in the same reel, all framed against the looming shadow of Dr. Doom. This wasn't a teaser for a single movie. It was a declaration of intent. Marvel was signaling that Avengers Doomsday isn't just another chapter. It's the collision point of everything: heroes, villains, mutants, and legends uniting against a threat that dwarfs anything we've seen since Thanos. Just when the reel seemed to be hitting its peak, the footage suddenly broke away from the dramatic voices and tense foreshadowing. Instead, fans were treated to a rare glimpse behind the scenes. The Russo brothers, legendary for their work on Infinity War and Endgame, appeared on screen. The message was subtle but unmistakable. The architects of Marvel's biggest moments were back in charge of the MCU's most ambitious project yet. The clip wasn't polished, and it wasn't meant to be. We saw flashes of the set, with crew buzzing around, cameras rolling, and massive green screens hinting at the scale of what's being created. At one point, Paul Rudd himself crashed the scene in a gag, blocking the view and jokingly ruining the shot. It was lighthearted, a reminder that even in the middle of massive stakes, Marvel still knows how to have fun. But then the tone shifted again. The Russos looked straight into the camera and described what they were working on. Their words carried weight. This wasn't just another Avengers film. In their own words, it was certainly one of the biggest projects we've ever worked on, maybe even bigger than Endgame. That declaration alone sent shockwaves through the fandom. Bigger than Endgame? For many fans, that film was the peak of the MCU. The idea that Marvel is now aiming higher raised the stakes to an entirely new level. The tease was clear. This wasn't just about nostalgia or cameos. It was about scale, ambition, and uniting the largest roster of heroes Marvel has ever assembled. And standing at the center of it all is Earth's greatest threat yet, Dr. Doom. Among all the familiar voices and behind-the-scenes teases, there was one detail that stood out as both subtle and game-changing. For just a few moments, the reel shifted into something different, something with an unmistakable aesthetic. The footage looked like it was pulled straight out of the 1940s or 1950s, muted colors, vintage cars, period costumes, and an atmosphere that felt more like Agent Carter than modern Avengers. To many fans, that was confirmation of a rumor that's been circling for months, that Peggy Carter and Steve Rogers are about to step back into the spotlight. The speculation has been loud. Could Marvel be weaving Captain America and Peggy into the Doomsday story, using time jumps or alternate realities to bring them into the fold once more? This brief glimpse seemed to say yes. The aesthetic wasn't accidental. Marvel doesn't drop a fully formed period setting by mistake. The implication was clear: somewhere within this massive storyline, the past is going to collide with the present. And if Dr. Doom truly is the villain pulling the strings, then exploring alternate timelines or even rewriting history feels like the perfect setup for his rise. This moment in the reel didn't offer answers. It only asked questions. Why the 1940s? Why now? And what role could Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter possibly play in a war that stretches across Avengers, X-Men, and the Fantastic Four? The mystery was intentional, and it left fans more curious than ever about what Marvel is hiding. For all the excitement, one question still lingers: when do fans actually get to see the real trailer? Marvel has a history of saving big reveals for San Diego Comic-Con, and most signs point to July 2026 as the likely moment. That would mirror how the Russos once unveiled Infinity War footage, a move still remembered as one of Marvel's greatest reveals. There's also a chance Marvel could surprise fans earlier. Disney has often used major sporting events, like the Super Bowl, to drop unexpected trailers. It's unlikely they'll give away too much too soon, but Marvel has built a reputation on keeping fans guessing. For now, the wait continues and speculation only grows stronger. No Marvel project escapes the whirlwind of online rumors, and Avengers Doomsday has been no different. Not long ago, reports circulated about supposed feuds between two major actors, with claims that tensions were already disrupting production. But as more information surfaced, it turned out those stories were exaggerated. Actors who were said to be at odds hadn't even worked together on set. This hasn't stopped speculation from running wild, but the actual updates from production tell a different story. By all accounts, filming has gone smoothly, with much of the principal photography already wrapped. Marvel insiders have hinted that the studio is happy with what's been shot so far, and that the focus now is on fine-tuning the script and effects before moving forward. For fans, that's a rare piece of good news. Marvel has faced its fair share of delays and setbacks in recent years, but for now, Doomsday seems to be on track. And while secrecy still surrounds most of the story, the confidence coming out of the production suggests that Marvel believes they've captured something worthy of standing alongside, or even above, Endgame.